Richard Johnson is a lecturer in US politics and international relations at Lancaster University here in the UK, and he joins me now to discuss this. Plenty going on in US politics, but I guess that's just a Wednesday. What do you make of the president's assessment that maybe it wasn't Mohammed bin Salman who conducted this extrajudicial killing of Jamal Khashoggi? And also, how unusual is it for a president to be so explicit about this kind of trade-off between the kind of countries America wants to associate with and then also the economic damage it might cause?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, that Donald Trump is a transactional person. He's a transactional president. And so for him, he's not going, he's going to weigh up what he views as the bigger and better part of the deal, which is arms deals with Saudi Arabia. Presidents in the past have not had a great record on this either. President Obama, one of the few vetoes that he exercised and was overruled by Congress was legislation by Congress to allow victims of 9/11 to engage in civil suits against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And President Obama vetoed that in part because of a concern of the damage it would do to US-Saudi relations. Now, that is not on the same level as the president effectively ignoring a CIA report about the allocation of blame. But it does show that the United States, for a long time, US presidents have prioritized the US-Saudi relationship over individuals who might have serious claims against the Saudi government.
And Richard, moving on to another big story coming out of the White House and the Trump administration, what do you understand about the prosecutions which President Trump was trying to pursue with his Justice Department around Hillary Clinton and James Comey?
Well, it's very, the thing that's most concerning is the way in which the president is possibly attempting to use the Justice Department for his own personal ends. And, since the Watergate era, presidents have had to be very careful the extent to which they issue instructions to Justice Department officials. There was an interesting report which came out this week which reflected on Richard Nixon's close relationship with Henry Peterson, who'd been an assistant attorney general in the Justice Department. And it was one of the articles of impeachment against Richard Nixon was that he had opened up these back channels with the Justice Department for his own protection and for his own information. And so President Trump has to be very cautious about the ways in which he might be directing Justice Department officials to either provide him with information or to adjust ongoing investigations which might implicate him personally.
And Richard, speaking of the behavior of the administration, Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka, reportedly using her personal email account. Explain to us why that's an issue for somebody in her position and what the Democrats plan to do about it.
Well, obviously, the first charge that gets raised against the president is one of hypocrisy, given that Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server was one of the centerpieces of his campaign against her and the source of the lock her up rallying cry. Now, he argues that his daughter is in a different position because she hasn't deleted her emails and for whatever reason was simply unaware that this wasn't allowed, which seems somewhat implausible given the content of the election campaign. I think there's a bigger issue about whether Ivanka Trump should be having this job in the first place. Congress in 1967 passed an anti-nepotism law, which was intended to prevent family members from working in presidential administrations. This law in the past, the Justice Department has advised presidents that they couldn't do so much as appoint members of their family to be the chair of, Jimmy Carter was told he couldn't appoint his wife to be the chair of a commission on mental health because it would violate this law. So, I know the Trump administration says they've got around this because she doesn't take a salary, but I think it violates the spirit of this law. And I think it's pretty, the fundamental point that she's even working for her father in the White House is a cause for concern in of itself, given the context of the 67 law.
Richard Johnson, thank you so much for bringing us your insights and getting up early for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, another